The first sensation was a deep, invasive cold. A marrow-deep chill radiated from the inside out. Elias Forge willed his body to move, to twitch a finger, to grind his teeth against the tremor that should have been racking his frame, but he remained immobile. His muscles, usually a dense and reliable source of power, were inert fibers, unresponsive to his will. He could only move his eyes, frantically surveying the surrounding void. He was on his back, staring up into a darkness tinged with faint luminescence. A diffuse, anemic light painted the air, giving everything a flat, two-dimensional quality. A colder, brighter halo of this light drifted above him, tracing his body's contours with unnerving precision. It slid through the air on an invisible track, silent, smooth, suggesting technology far beyond anything human. He felt a faint vibration where it passed, a subtle thrum in his bones that resonated with a dissonant hum in his jaw. A cold spike of panic constricted his chest. Elias countered it with the ingrained discipline of his search and rescue career. Assess, breathe, plan. Planning was useless for now. An unseen mechanism automated his breathing. His diaphragm remained as paralyzed as his limbs. Air entered and exited his lungs in shallow, mechanical puffs. But he could assess. He was captive. How and why were mysteries for later when he could move. The what was immediate and terrifying. A new shape drifted into his peripheral vision. A small ovoid with a matte black, light-absorbing surface hovered near his right ear. As he focused on it, a synthesized, toneless drone sounded inside his skull. Subject designated human male. Specimen Casimbulan ratus duoblas, commencing biological composition analysis. The halo of light intensified. Its vibration grew stronger, the low-frequency hum threatening to shake his skeleton apart. A phantom itch crawled across his skin, an examination so deep it mapped him from the inside out. He tried to resist. It was like attempting to dam a river with a sieve. The light saw everything. It categorized his dense, abnormal bone mass, a result of LRP5 high bone mass syndrome. A genetic quirk that had made him a medical curiosity his entire life. It mapped the powerful musculature coiled around that reinforced frame, built through years of hauling rubble and crawling through collapsed structures. It noted the network of scars on his hands, an arms testament to a life spent in danger. The process lasted both an eternity and an instant. Then, just as abruptly as it began, the light receded. The vibrations ceased. The ovoid remained. Analysis complete, the drone reported with mechanical neutrality. Conclusion: subject's biological composition is wholly weaponized. Structural integrity exceeds baseline projections for hardened combat chassis. Muscular force output comparable to industrial-grade demolition equipment. Neurological response patterns indicate high capacity for threat assessment and tactical improvisation. A pause. Conclusion: the organism is a weapon fully integrated. Its form and function are one. The drone drifted away. The words echoed in Elias's mind. A weapon. He lay on the cold slab, imprisoned by his captors and their diagnosis. He had spent his life pulling people from wreckage. He had always treated his unnatural strength as something to be controlled, managed, never unleashed. Now it had been reduced to a function. The cold sank deeper, past his bones, into the icy certainty of a monstrous misunderstanding. The paralysis ebbed, replaced by prickling static. Elias pushed himself upright as the slab hissed and retracted into the floor. He stood in a room of seamless white. Walls, floor, and ceiling blended into a featureless void. The uniform light erased shadows, flattening reality itself. A sedative haze clung to his thoughts. He fought it. He closed his eyes and breathed slow inhalations. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. the same technique he used before entering unstable ruins. With each cycle, clarity returned. His body's familiar dense energy settled into place. He examined his prison methodically. He pressed the walls. Solid knelt, tested the floor. Jumped, slapped the ceiling just out of reach. A faint low-frequency hum vibrated through everything. Information was his only resource. A section of the wall thinned, turning translucent, then vanished. Two beings glided inside. They were tall and slender, their forms like flowing mercury, limbs reforming with each movement. Smooth, polished black surfaces reflected the white room in distorted curves. They shoved another human inside. The wall sealed. The man was wiry, agitated, sweat plastering dark hair to his forehead. His eyes darted, sharp and frantic. The voice returned. Trial 1. Dominance assertion. 1 nutritional unit available. Prognosis. Violent resource acquisition by the dominant specimen. A slot opened. A grey block slid onto the floor. The new man Theo Reed stepped back instinctively, eyeing Elias's size and power. He curled his hands loosely, calculating survival odds. Elias felt a deep, weary sadness. They wanted proof. He walked to the block, lifted it. Dense, porous, strong. A single sharp motion crack. The block split cleanly in two. Theo stared. Elias extended one half. Looks like breakfast, he said quietly. Observation chamber, primary analyst Kale, observed from behind layered shielding, his indigo fluid form, steady but tense. Data flooded his displays. The force required to fracture the nutrient block exceeded all Terran biological projections. Specimen 912 was confirmed. A weapon. Then the anomaly. It shared. Kale's predictive models rippled with error. And for the first time in millennia, certainty cracked. Theo chewed the block warily. It broke apart with a fibrous snap, tasting of minerals and dust, but it quieted the hollow ache in his stomach. Elias ate his own half slowly, methodically. The casual way he had split the block sent a spike through Theo's pulse. But Elias's expression was calm. Quiet, Theo reassessed. Theo Reed, he said finally, his mouth dry. Elias Forge, Elias replied, voice low and steady. You okay? Theo snorted. Define okay? I woke up in a sci-fi nightmare. I'm sharing a prison cell with a guy who snaps rocks like crackers. And I just ate something that tastes like chalk. So yeah. Living the dream. Elias gave a small, tired smile. Fair enough. Silence followed. Two people absorbing the impossible. You're a tech, Elias said. Theo raised an eyebrow. That obvious? The way you scanned the room, Elias replied. You weren't looking. You were mapping. Engineers always do. Theo shrugged. Network systems. Diagnose failures for a living. And I'm search and rescue, Elias said. Private security before that. Learned crowd control the hard way. That explained the calm. The discipline. Strength used for rescue, not dominance. Theo pressed his ear to the floor. This hum. It's layered. 60-cycle baseline, but there's a deeper pulse underneath. Every 90 seconds or so. Like something spooling up, Elias said. Exactly. Theo's eyes lit with focus. We're sitting on infrastructure. Maintenance grid. We're not just prisoners. We're test subjects. The next trial came without warning. Mist fell. Consciousness slipped. Elias woke in a larger chamber. The light was warmer. The air more humid. At the center sat a pale, organic platform that rose and fell with a slow breathing pulse. The wall melted away, and another human was escorted inside. She was tall, athletic, eyes sharp with instant assessment. Mara Cade. Before the wall sealed, the voice spoke. Trial 2. Procreative imperative. Commence genetic pairing. Mara glanced at the platform. Then the ceiling. Is there a wine list? She asked dryly. Or do we just suffer immediately? Elias laughed despite himself. I take it you're another guest, she said. Unwilling, he replied. I'm an ER nurse, Mara said. Chaos is kind of my thing. They ignored the platform. They sat apart on the floor and talked. Mara told a story about an ER patient who arrived with a garden gnome lodged where no garden gnome should ever be. Elias laughed until his sides hurt. Then countered with a rescue involving a millionaire spry's cat stuck in the ruins of a collapsed mansion. Laughter filled the sterile chamber. Human laughter. In the observation chamber, Kale's indigo form churned violently. Hormonal data contradicted every model. Oxytocin. Bonding. Humor. Platonic connection. The trial ended in mist. Elias woke alone. Then the voice returned. Previous pairing resulted in platonic bonding. Adjusting parameters, the wall dissolved. Theo was shoved inside. The implication became instantly, painfully clear. They stared at each other. Then both burst out laughing. No offense, Theo gasped, wiping his eyes. But I don't want to be demolished. None taken, Elias wheezed. Their science is terrible. Theo's laughter faded into focus. This was a test. But also time. They keep giving us time. He examined the pulsating platform. This is equipment. Elias pried at the base as Theo guided him. Beneath the membrane lay glowing conduits and fiber optics. A feedback monitor, Theo whispered. Maintenance access? In Kale's chamber, models collapsed. Authority chimed. Override issued. Protocol 915 authorized. Unconsciousness returned. They awoke on a forest floor. Sunlight, pine scent. Birds singing? Mara helped Theo up. Elias counted faces. 12 humans total. Then the voice boomed. Protocol 915. Predator-prey response. The ecosystem will sustain the fittest specimen. Hope Roseland died. The birds repeated the same song. The stream tasted sterile. The plants were hollow. It's fake, said Dr. Helen Morrow, botanist. All of it. Silence fell. They were the ecosystem. They were the ecosystem. Cannibalism was the expectation. Mara stepped forward. No, she said quietly. They're wrong again. She looked at each of them. They think we're animals. We're not. We're going to break their test. Theo nodded. This simulation needs massive power. Find the node. Overload it. They split into teams. Elias found it beneath a false boulder. Metal hummed beneath stone. He heaved. The rock shifted. Revealing a glowing distribution node, Theo braided conductive threads torn from their jumpsuits. One shot, he said. Elias stood guard. Theo bridged the terminals. Light erupted, the world tore apart. The forest vanished. They stood in a hangar. Guards poured in. Elias charged. Batons struck. Bones held. They fought together. Theo led them into maintenance tunnels. A blast door slammed shut. Elias carved through it with a captured energy baton. They burst onto the bridge. Kale stood there, fluid form collapsing in terror. Mara stepped forward. "You wanted to know what humans are?" she said. "We're the variable. Shut it down." Kale surrendered. Silence fell. Theo touched the console. "It's ours," he whispered. "The ship." Elias looked at the stars. "Let's go home," he said. With a warning. Mara nodded. And a choice. The ship turned. Earth awaited. The engines came alive beneath them with a deep, resonant hum that Elias felt in his bones. It wasn't violent or sudden. It was controlled, purposeful. The massive alien vessel rotated smoothly. Stars sliding across the viewscreen like spilt diamonds. None of them spoke for several long seconds. They were free. That realization hit slowly, like warmth returning to numb fingers. Theo remained at the console, fingers hovering just above the strange surface. Afraid that if he pressed the wrong thing, the universe might snap back and take it all away. The alien interface shimmered. Symbols reorganizing themselves into patterns that made unsettling sense. Math. Systems. Logic. Universal. "This thing's elegant," Theo murmured. "Way over-engineered, but elegant." Mara stood beside Elias, arms folded tightly, eyes never leaving the stars. "I keep waiting for someone to wake me up." Elias didn't answer right away. He scanned the bridge, counting heads again. 12, all alive, all shaken. Some bleeding, some staring into space with hollow eyes. "We're not done yet," he said finally. "Freedom doesn't mean safe." As if on cue, the deck vibrated slightly. A new tone chimed through the bridge. Theo stiffened. "That wasn't me." Alien text flowed across the main display. Kale's form rippled beside it, dull and subdued. "It is an automated broadcast," Kale said, voice hollow. "The vessel's status has been flagged. Oversight entities are now aware of this deviation." "How long?" Mara asked sharply. Kale hesitated. "Temporal estimates vary. But pursuit is probable." Theo exhaled slowly. "Of course it is." Dr. Helen Morrow stepped closer to the console, peering at the data. "Can you jump us faster than light?" Theo nodded. "Yes. But not quietly. Their drives leave a signature trail." "So running just tells them where we are?" one of the others said. Elias folded his arms. "Which means we only get one move." Everyone turned to him. He didn't enjoy that. Leadership wasn't something he chased. It had always just landed on him in collapsed buildings and disaster zones. "We go to Earth," Elias said. A murmur rippled through the group. "They took us without warning," he continued. "They run experiments on people. Someone back home needs to know." "And they'll follow us," Mara said. "Yes," Elias agreed. "That's the point." Theo looked up sharply. "You want them to see us?" Elias nodded. "I want them to expect us." Silence again. Then Mara smiled, slow and fierce. "I'm in." Theo's lips twitched. "Well, if we're going to do this, we should at least know what we're flying." He tapped the console again. The ship responded instantly, unfolding schematic layers in the air. Power systems, weapons, defensive fields. Theo's eyes widened. "Oh," he breathed. "Oh, this is bad for them." Kale's form rippled. "This vessel is a researched red frame, not intended for direct combat, but it is. Capable. How capable?" Elias asked. Kale hesitated. Its defensive envelope exceeds most patrol fleets. Its internal systems are adaptive. Theo laughed softly. Figures. Mara leaned closer. Can we fight? Theo looked at the data, then at Elias. Not straight up. But we don't have to. This thing is a toolbox. Sensors, signal amplifiers, broadcast arrays. Elias felt something settle into place. We don't need to win, he said. We need to warn. Kale reacted instantly. Unauthorized data dissemination is a violation of everything you people already broke, Mara snapped. Sit down. Kale fell silent. Theo's fingers danced across the interface. There's a galactic cum lattice tied into this ship. Emergency research channel. Priority access. What happens if you use it? Elias asked. Theo swallowed. Everyone listens. The ship lurched gently as it entered faster than light travel. Stars stretched into lines, then vanished. Earthbound. Time blurred. Some slept. Some cried quietly. Some sat in silence, staring at nothing. Ilias moved among them, checking injuries, offering water, steady presence. It felt natural. Familiar. Rescue never ended when you pulled someone from the wreckage. That was when it actually began. Mara found him near the viewport hours later. You okay? She asked. Elias considered the question. I will be. She nodded. Is it going to come? Yes. And people will die. Yes. She studied his face. You still going through with it? Yes. A beat? Good, she said. They reached Earth's orbit without resistance. Theo's voice broke the quiet. We're being hailed. Multiple frequencies. They don't know what to make of us. Elias stepped to the center of the bridge. Patch them through, he said. Screens lit up. Human faces. Confused. Alarmed. Military. Civilian. Government. This is Elias Forge, he said clearly. We were taken. Experimented on. This ship belongs to the people who did it. A pause. We're not here to ask for permission, he continued. We're here to give you time. Theo activated the broadcast. Kale's records. The trials. Protocol 915. Everything. The galaxy listened. And somewhere in the dark, something old and powerful realized its experiment had escaped. The silence after the broadcast felt heavier than the void outside the ship. Earth's response was not immediate. That frightened Elias, more than panic would have. Theo leaned back from the console, rubbing his eyes. Okay. Every major power on Earth just watched alien ethics violations in real time. And judging by the traffic spike, so did half the galaxy. Mara crossed her arms. So? We just kicked a hornet's nest the size of a star cluster. Yes, Theo said. But a very informed hornet's nest. Kale stood motionless, his fluid form dull and strained. The Oversight Conclave will respond. They cannot allow this precedent. Precedent, Mara repeated. You abduct people, starve them, try to make them eat each other, and we're the precedent problem? Kale did not answer. Dr. Helen Morrow stepped forward, her voice calm but edged with steel. What happens next? Theo studied the incoming data streams. They're triangulating us. Multiple vessels. Fast. How fast? Elias asked. Theo exhaled. Too fast to outrun. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as the ship rerouted power. Kale spoke quietly. They will not attempt negotiation. The Conclave interprets defiance as contamination, meaning, someone asked. Mara answered before Kale could. They erase it. A tremor ran through the deck. The first shockwave rippled across the hull as distant drives tore through local space. Theo's console lit up with threat markers. They're here. The view screen filled with alien warships, sleek and predatory, sliding into position with chilling precision. This was not a research team. This was extermination. Defensive envelope holding, Theo said. For now. Elias stepped forward, steady and unshaken. Can we talk to them? Cale hesitated. Yes. But they will not listen. Then patch me through anyway, Elias said. The channel opened. A towering alien presence filled the screen. Its form was rigid, angular, bristling with authority. Human subjects, the voice intoned. You have exceeded your designation. Power down the vessel and submit for containment. Elias didn't raise his voice. No. A ripple of disturbance passed through the alien fleet. You misunderstand, the alien replied. Non-compliance results in nullification. You misunderstand, Elias said evenly. You already failed. Mara watched the alien's posture shift, ever so slightly. Theo quietly routed secondary systems online. Elias continued. You wanted data? You wanted to know what humans are? Silence. We cooperate under pressure. We share resources. We tell jokes when we're scared. We break cages instead of each other. Theo triggered another data burst. More footage streamed into the galactic network. The forest. The fake ecosystem. The node overload. The guards falling. You didn't study US, Elias said. You projected yourselves onto us. Cale's form trembled. This exchange is escalating beyond containment thresholds. That's because, Mara said, stepping beside Elias, you never accounted for one thing. And what is that? The alien demanded. Mara smiled thinly. Consent. Theo's console screamed warnings. Weapons charging. Elias spoke one last time. You can leave. Or you can keep going. But now everyone is watching. For the first time, the alien fleet hesitated. Then, the first shot fired. Light exploded across the bridge as defensive systems flared. The ship shuddered violently. Theo slammed commands through the console. Shields at 80%. Elias braced himself as gravity fluctuated. Mara grabbed a rail. They chose? Yes, Elias said grimly. They did. Theo's fingers flew, routing power to lateral emitters. We can't win a fight, but we can stall. Cale's voice shook. If the hull breaches, it won't, Elias said. Another impact. The ship groaned like a living thing. Theo looked up, eyes wide. They're adapting. Faster than expected. Mara locked eyes with Elias. Then we adapt faster. Elias nodded once. Theo, can you dump everything? Theo blinked. Everything. All remaining data. Every protocol. Every recording. All of it. Theo understood instantly. He smiled. Oh, they are not going to like that. He hit execute. The ship became a beacon. Data screamed into the galactic lattice, unrestricted, unfiltered, unstoppable. Alien tactics. Alien failures. Alien fear. The attacking fleet faltered as their own systems hesitated, overloaded by exposure and external scrutiny. Cale collapsed to one knee, his form unraveling. You have altered the balance. No, Elias corrected. We revealed it. The alien commander stared at the chaos spreading across their network. For the first time in millennia, the conclave was not unseen, not unquestioned, not unchallenged. And then, abruptly, The weapons powered down. The fleet withdrew. The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of the engines. Theo sagged back, laughing breathlessly. They ran. Mara exhaled slowly. Yeah, they did. Elias looked at Earth on the screen, small, fragile, defiant. This isn't over, he said softly. But now, they weren't alone. The silence after the alien fleet's retreat felt unreal. No alarms, no weapons fire. Just the low, steady hum of the ship's engines drifting through the bridge. Theo broke the stillness first. So, statistically speaking, that went better than expected. Mara let out a tired laugh. I was expecting to die screaming in a fake forest. This is an upgrade. Elias didn't smile. He was staring at the tactical display, watching the empty space where the enemy ships had been. They didn't retreat out of fear, he said. They retreated because we exposed them. Kale slowly regained his composure, his fluid form stabilizing into a subdued indigo. The Oversight Conclave survives on perception, authority, certainty. And we cracked it, Theo said. Yes, Kale replied. You did. Dr. Helen Morrow stepped closer to the main screen. What happens now? Kale hesitated. Chaos? The word hung heavy. The conclave was never meant to be seen, Kale continued. Entire civilizations submitted because they believed resistance was impossible. You have shown otherwise. Theo scrolled through incoming transmissions. His expression shifted from amusement to awe. Mara leaned over. What? We're getting messages, Theo said. Encrypted, broken dialects. Species I don't even have reference libraries for. Elias turned. Messages about what? Theo swallowed. They're asking how we survived. Another pause. Dr. Moreau whispered, they want to know how to fight back. Kale's form rippled uneasily. This is why the protocol existed. Hope spreads faster than weapons. And you tried to kill it with fear, Mara said coldly. Theo pulled up a star map. Red markers flickered across multiple systems. Council-controlled worlds, he explained. Active unrest. Broadcast footage is circulating everywhere. Elias closed his eyes briefly. We didn't start a war, he said. But we started something. A sharp chime interrupted them. Incoming priority transmission, Theo said. Not council. The screen resolved into unfamiliar shapes, alien faces, varied and strange, watching with cautious intensity. A translated voice spoke. We have watched your defiance. We have studied your recordings. You did what we could not. Elias stepped forward. We didn't free anyone. We just survived. The alien paused. Survival is enough. Another voice joined in. The Council's warning protocols have always shown us how they kill. We never thought to study how. Theo muttered, that sounds familiar. The first speaker continued. You broke their test. You broke their certainty. Will you share how? Elias looked around the bridge. At Mara? At Theo? At Dr. Morrow? At Kale? We didn't win by being stronger, Elias said finally. We won by not becoming what they expected. Mara nodded. We didn't fight each other. We talked. We adapted. We worked as a team. Theo added, and when we didn't understand something, we learned it instead of panicking. The alien delegates processed this. Then you are dangerous, one said. Elias smiled faintly. Only two people who think cooperation is a weakness. Kale stepped forward, voice heavy with resignation. If you do this, If you teach them, the Conclave will hunt you. They already tried, Mara said. And failed, Theo added. A new transmission cut through. Council's signature. The bridge tensed instantly. The alien commander appeared again, its presence diminished, no longer absolute. You have destabilized Galactic Order, it declared. Return stolen data and surrender the vessel. Elias didn't hesitate. No. The alien's tone sharpened. You risk annihilation. Elias leaned closer to the screen. So do you. Silence. Theo quietly routed another channel, live public. Just so you know, Theo said casually, this conversation is being shared. Everywhere. The alien's posture stiffened. You would weaponize transparency, it hissed. Mara shrugged. Worked so far. The commander paused. Then, something unprecedented happened. We will withdraw, it said. Temporarily, Kale's form flickered in disbelief. But understand this, the alien added. You have changed the rules. Yes, Elias replied. That was the point. The transmission cut. Theo leaned back slowly. I think we just scared an empire. Dr. Morrow exhaled. Good. The bridge settled into a strange calm. Elias stared again at the stars. This ship, he said quietly. This knowledge? It doesn't belong to us. Mara crossed her arms. No, it belongs to anyone who doesn't want to be hunted. Theo grinned. Open source rebellion. Kale looked at them, something like awe forming in his shifting features. Your species is statistically impossible. Elias glanced at him. You tested us like animals. And we responded like people, Mara added. A course plotted itself on the navigation display. Earth, home, Theo looked up. They're waiting for us. Elias nodded. Then we bring them the truth. The engines deepened their hum as the ship turned. The galaxy had been warned once. Now, it would be warned again. The stars stretched and folded as the ship dropped out of faster-than-light. Earth filled the forward screen. Blue, scarred. Alive? For a long moment, no one spoke. Elias stood at the front of the bridge, hands resting lightly on the console. He felt older than when this began, heavier, but steadier too. Theo finally broke the silence. So, we're really doing this? Mara nodded. We didn't survive all that just to keep quiet. Dr. Helen Morrow leaned closer to the display, her eyes wet but sharp. They deserve to know what's out there. Kale remained still, his fluid form subdued and reflective. Once this information leaves this ship, it cannot be recalled. That's the point, Elias said. Theo activated the broadcast array. All major networks are patched. Military, civilian. Emergency bands. They'll hear it. Mara exhaled slowly. No filters, no spin. Truth only, Elias agreed. The signal went live. Across Earth, screens flickered. In command centers. In homes. In hospitals. In streets where people looked up in confusion as public displays cut over. Elias began to speak. This is Elias Carter. If you're seeing this, then the universe is bigger and more dangerous than we were told. Images streamed behind his voice. The white testing chambers. The fake forests collapsing. The alien guards falling. The massive ship tearing free from the illusion. We were taken, Elias continued. Studied, tested. They wanted to prove that humans break under pressure. That fear turns us into animals. Mara stepped into frame. They were wrong. Footage showed people working together, laughing, sharing food, tearing apart their own clothes to build tools. They expected violence, Theo said. We gave them cooperation. Dr. Moreau followed. They expected instinct. We gave them choice. The final images showed the alien fleet retreating, running. Kale moved into view, last. The room went silent as his alien form filled the screen. I am Kale, he said. I was their analyst. Their scientist. Their scientist. Their mistake. A murmur rippled across Earth. The species you face does not fear weapons, Kale continued. They fear unpredictability. They fear unity. They fear transparency. Elias returned to center frame. They will come again, he said calmly. But now, you know how they think. How they test. How they fail. The broadcast ended. Silence followed. Then, the alerts began. Theo stared at the incoming feeds. Oh, wow. What? Mara asked. Everywhere, Theo said softly. Governments coordinating. Scientists asking for data. Civilians? Not panicking. Dr. Morrow smiled faintly. They're learning. Kale observed the streams, something like wonder moving through his form. You have turned fear into preparation. Elias turned from the screen. That's what they never understood. The ship descended into orbit. Escort craft rose to meet it, human-made, imperfect, defiant. Mara watched them approach. We're not alone anymore. No, Elias agreed. We never were. Kale hesitated. My people will mark you as a catalyst species. Theo smirked. We get that a lot. As the docking clamps engaged, Elias felt the weight finally lift from his chest. They had not escaped quietly. They had not survived invisibly. They had changed the equation. Before the hatch opened, Kale spoke once more. You were never weapons, he said. You were never test subjects. Mara looked back at him. Then, what are we? Kale paused. Teachers? The hatch opened. Light flooded in. And humanity stepped forward, not as prey, not as conquerors, but as something far more dangerous. A species that learns,